Vernacular architecture is one of the oldest architecture in the UAE region, and it's part of their traditions. It considered a local, simple design. It don't even contain any decoration or eye-catching materials. Mostly it reflects a specific region and their culture or climates, or the way they used to dress, or the environment that's surrounding them. They get inspired from it, so they used anything that was related to their environment. They depend on hand-working materials, for examples like mud, palm trees, stone, and animal skins. The vernacular existed in the UAE before the oil because back then people used to live a poor life without any faculties. They built their own culture without any intervention from other countries and Western societies. The wind towers and tent are the most common sight in the vernacular architecture for their simple materials and the reflection of the simple life. Sultan Fort in Al Ain was built by Sheikh Sultan bin Zayed in 1910. Al Jahiliyyah Fort, also in Al Ain, was built by Sheikh Zayed I in 1898. Nowadays, you can't see little vernacular architecture in the UAE because people now live an easy life with a lot of technologies. However, that does not mean people forget about it. There is still some forts, old local buildings, and museums that hold this long-lasting architecture. Also, many local government and companies are trying their best to bring the vernacular architecture back and mix it with the modern to produce a unique flavor.
Did you know about the tradition in the UAE? Tradition was the important thing in the UAE. Everyone should respect and follow what their families did. Tradition means in general that very simple and traditional things from everything, from buildings, environments, schools, hospitals, and education. People in the past was dependent on two main things, date crops and sheep herding as a main source of income. The houses was very simple and some of families were lived in the tents. They used to build their house in a small materials and what were available. For example, mud, water, small stone and wood. They have a lot of traditional things like mandus. Mandus is a small box with some decoration used to save precious things. Moreover, there was no electricity in the past. They used only the fanar. Fanar is like a small lamp. They could hold it by hand or put it anywhere. In addition, they didn't have air conditioner or cooling system, especially in the summer season, to make their house cold. I always asked my grandmother, how did you live in this situation? She told me it was a great and simple life. It's nearly everything available for the conditioner. They used many of simple ways. For instance, to cool the air, they used to put a water in the sands to absorb the heat from the air. And the other ways, they built a tall buildings with a lot of windows. One side they put a wet clothes or anything wet, and when the wind come would be a cool, and it's called a barchi.
Islamic architecture is considered a historical symbol in countries. What is the Islamic architecture? One aspect of Islamic architecture is called hidden architecture, which means that the outside forms doesn't explain or show what is inside. Islamic architecture from the past was simple construction in its simplest form. It has evolved and formed a group of different architecture. These include the Islamic architecture of several types. First, the architecture of mosque. Second, the art of building places and the art of architecture in all its forms. Also models because they understood the architecture of past civilization and have developed in line with their faith and religious, and then created the Islamic model of their own. After that, they used some natural materials such as mud and wood to build that. Islamic architecture has focused on the doors and arches and domes and columns by decoration. One of the living examples of Islamic architecture in the UAE is Bidiyah Mosque, which located on the east coast of the Emirates near Dibba. It was built with a large pillar and 4 domes, which are considered Islamic feature. Another example of Islamic architecture is Zayed Mosque. It is located in the Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE. It is one of the 10 largest mosques in the world. There are 4 minarets on the 4 corners of the mosque and 57 domes covering the outside yard and the main building.
The most common architecture is the modern architecture, which is categorized by simplification of form and creation of ornament from the structural theme of the building. Modern architecture existed because of the economic prosperity and socio-cultural changes that happened in the UAE the last few decades, which changed the phenomena of architecture in the third world. And there are several elements that would show that this is a modern architecture, like air conditioner and buildings that are covered by glass. Also advanced materials that are imported from abroad, like concrete, steel and shiny glasses. All these developed tools would reflect the economic wealth and socio-cultural values. There are 2 different examples of modern architecture in UAE. One is Emirates Tower. It was also in Dubai in 2002. It's Burj Al Arab, which is in Jumeirah, and it was built in 1999.